Good morning, students. Uh, Pleasure to be here to start with. Uh, Welcome to Adani family. The institute is as much a family member as any of the Adani group company. And as Madam was telling, yes, uh, I've been associated with Adani now about 12 years. And right from probably the first batch, in some way or the other, I'm trying to get in touch with the institute and in my own way interact and not help, but at least facilitate some part of development of the students. Uh, at the outset, let me tell you a part of the history, because I think this kind of onboarding, this kind of interaction, I think has never happened in the past, and I don't see it happening going forward in the future. Okay, so today, maybe about an hour and a half. If you allow me, it can go up to 2 hours also. I don't mind, because I would love this kind of interactions. Uh, we would talk. There's nothing for me to present much. Of course, I have my own preparedness, my own slides, but as much as you would love to interact, and I don't mind talking as many as a couple of us. Okay. Uh, as one would really look at what we are talking today is corporate expectations from students, right? The expectations start right from this minute. Okay, so one would definitely expect you to be attentive. One would definitely expect you to be disciplined in whatever that is happening, and also one would expect you to participate in the whole discussion. And uh, you have 2 years. You have total 2 years for yourself to prepare yourself and go and face the world, right? So with this outset, let me start. I'm James Srinivas. I'm working with Adani since about 12 years. In the past, I worked for a couple of other corporates, mainly namely Reliance. Before that, I worked for British Gas, and in Adani, I've been in various stints. Initially with projects, subsequently ports, and till about a month back, I was working with Adani Enterprises, and now I have moved on to group group HR, right? That's my little introduction, and I can see there are about 30 odd students. And yes, this is where we are. This is my slide one. You guys have to tell me whether the slides are changing or not, because this would be little here and there in terms of technology allowing us or disabling us. Uh, okay, what makes a business? Typically, see, today whatever I'm going to talk, there's nothing big and nothing great, because for any young kid these days, if you actually Google, you will find all these things. But the importance is that to interact and make sense of what you read and what you see in web space or any books. So typically, what a business makes. Business is all about to start with money, the material, machines, and finally the men. You can see it. You can see the slide, the last one.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, pardon me for keeping it as only men. It does not necessarily mean that it does not include women. It includes women, but in the classic 4 M's, we have got money, material, machines, and men. And as one would really, uh, it has been ages since it is uh, acknowledged and agreed that people are the most important resource. And going forward to the next slide, a little understanding on what is all this about a job or a vocation or a profession. So, all right. Can you guys see me?
Sir, yeah. Yes, sir, we can see you, but then slide is not visible, sir.
Just 1 second.
Yeah, that's clear now.
Okay. So the okay. a little understanding on this basic concepts, because now we think that, we are coming from, we'll be going out from colleges and getting into the corporate world. What are these basic stuff, what is vocation? Vocation is all about, is something you do enjoy, and it's more or less a hobby. Uh, but what is most important is this is what you will be doing as you move forward. A job is work for which you receive pay. This is the most important thing that we need to understand, because somebody is paying you and in return expect output from you. That's where you will be entering once you finish your college and get into the job. And what is a career? Career is a series of jobs, because once you get into one job and from there you want to build your career, and it is series of jobs where you perform, you produce, you give your output, and then you keep on growing, and it's a series of jobs which makes a career. And finally, a profession which is based on a specialized education training and a specialized line of expertise which makes a profession. So these are basic four things I think each one of us have to understand. So and second part is the most important thing, second point, because it's you have to very clearly understand it's a commercial contract. A job is a commercial contract between an employee and an employer. When is it a commercial contract, which essentially means you are paid for something which you are supposed to deliver. Now, there's no emotional connect, there is no psychological connect. They are there, they follow. But the main important is it's a commercial contract, and the performance output has to meet the service level agreement of a commercial contract. Now, this is the basic context that I'm going to set. And from now onwards, it's about corporate expectations, right? Any questions, guys? You can lift your hand. You can ask. I want to be this to be absolutely interactive. I would take as many questions as possible, because as I rightly said, anybody who is even as a kid, if you Google, you will get all these expectations. There's nothing great about what I'm going to talk, right? Any questions? You just lift your hand or say, you want to ask, you want to talk, then I'm here to respond. I move forward. Now, this is what a corporate expects from you. This is how the expectations would look once you move out of the college. There are 4 slides of expectations, guys. This is the first slide of expectation. It includes positivity, confidence, idealism, attitude, positive thinking, trust. Next slide. Strategic planning, vision, stakeholder management, cost management, process compliance. The third set. And finally, the fourth set. Now, this is what probably, expectations from corporate look like. As Madam was saying in the beginning, it's all about, thousands and thousands of expectations from corporate when you actually enter into the organization. And typically, let me tell you, this is the reality. The reality is when you actually pass out from the college, enter into the corporate, you're the fresher, and you're in the beginning of the ladder of a corporate career. And anybody and everybody other than you are the people who are senior, who have worked there, who have proved themselves, who have performed. And typically, in any social system, the fresher has to perform. The fresher is one where the expectations are from, and this is how the life looks like for you when you enter into corporates. And based on this expectation, probably you will look like this. This is what you will end up looking the moment you enter into the corporate. Is that clear? These are the 4 slides. I have nothing more to say. And from here the interaction start. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Now,
sir. Yes, sir.
now, is this what you expected me to talk about? Is this what you expected to talk about?
Not really, sir.
Not really. Okay. Now, but the reality, guys, is going to be this. And as Madam was saying, that I think you have to mute your mics. As Madam was saying, that the corporates are actually, continuously and consistently working on uh, the onboarding plans for fresh graduates entering into the organization, whether they are engineering students, they are management graduates, and the best of corporates these days uh, have actually invested tremendous amount of time, energy, money to create a set of onboarding plans so that the onboarding is effective and it helps the integration so that the students start performing in a period of time. So based on that, I'm going to talk about something like this, and the refinement is here. The refinement in Adani is in about last couple of years, not that it's only about couple of years, but it's about more than 8-9 years. We had created something called Adani Behavioral Competency Framework. Now, Adani Behavioral Competency Framework. Let me take a pause here and ask you, what do you understand by competencies? Even one or two can respond to me.
Students, you can raise your hand and reply.
Sir, Nisha, the side, there are a few questions in chat box. Can you see the chat box, sir?
Yeah. I'll try to see that. Just give me half a second. Okay, so Akash, when expectations are not fulfilled, then how are the situations handled? Uh, okay, that's a very interesting question. Uh, Expectations not filled to what extent? That is the most important thing that you need to ask for yourself and to the corporate, because expectations have got range. Expectations have got since most of your engineers, let me put it in a expectations are in a when you come to the organizations, expectations are put in a rating scale. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 or 1 to 10. So where is that expectations not meeting? So typically, when a fresher starts in an organization, maybe you have those 6 months of training or 6 months of probation or 1 year of training, and that's when you articulate that the expectations are not met and you are on a 5-point scale or 10-point scale, you are standing at a rating 5 or rating 7. Based on that, if you are actually at the rock bottom, I think the expectation not meeting will be dealt with mostly. If it is at the bottom end, probably let me use the word exit. But if you are anywhere in the top 3 quartiles, I think there is something called further guidance. There will be something called performance improvement plans. There will be something called coaching, based on which it will be taken forward. That's what the answer for you, Akash. And what are the steps taken by Adani Group? If the expectations or targets have not been met by employee, I have already answered that question. What is more important today, today's world, degree or experience or practical knowledge? Now, there is no answer to this question because both are important. But the way that I would like to explain this to you is that the degree or the education qualification is something which gives you the base. That's where your fundamental formal education, which tells you that how to do. It will equip you technically as to how to handle a job, how to handle a set of functions, how to give the performance. Now, experience is something where you are bringing in your academic knowledge into practice. So both of them are important. And as far as you are concerned, you will be coming with academic knowledge, which you have learned into education institutes, and you will have to quickly adapt. You have to quickly adapt it into the organizational requirements. Sir, how does Adani develop individual ownership among the employees for maximum productivity? Yeah, it's very interesting question from a point of view of the kind of individual ownership is that when freshers join us or any employee join us, we are extremely important. We take a lot of care in terms of creating employee experience. Now, what happens is the moment an employee is recruited, right from the day my first step goes, I'm actually taking you to the guys where a candidate is connected till the guy joins. What we call it as employee experience. At every stage, we want the candidate till he joins us. We want him to go through a positive experience. He's joining an organization or a group which is number one in the country, in the industries where they are in. Now we'll completely take care in terms of explaining what is expected of him, giving him the clear job descriptions, ensuring that all the questions are answered, all the logistics and those kind of stuff are taken care. Interviews are done in a manner which is very professional. Competency based interviews are done, and employees selected, the offers are given in a manner which is completely totally explained. And on the day of joining, we ensure that the guy is taken care. We take care of the induction, and we also take care of employees family. We ensure that employees family is settling by giving a lot of help, and this actually lands the employee on a soft board, so that the ownership starts from the employee. And once he joins, the initial integration happens. Then guys, the employee is handed over to the most important relationship of an employee with the organization, that is he and his boss. And if you guys have read there's something called dyad. The most important element in an organization is called dyad, the relationship between boss and subordinate. That's where we try to work on the boss to ensure that the relationship is built between boss and subordinate. That's where all HR systems comes into picture in terms of JDs, KRAs, clarity in what he's supposed to deliver. This is how we try to build the ownership of an employee. These are the actions that we take to take care of employee right from day one. I would like to skip the question called what is how to handle corporate politics. There's nothing called politics. These are dynamics. Politics is a negative connotation. So I would not like to touch upon that. How Adani deals with employee turnover. Employee turnover is part of life. Every organization has to go through employee turnover. There's something called desired attrition. There's something called undesirable attrition. What typically you look at desired attrition is in any given period, whether it is a quarter or a half year or an year, if the performances are evaluated, there is a bottom 10 that you will come out with, and this is a stack ranking, which means it is not percentages, it is percentiles. So if you look at percentiles, and I would like to see that bottom 10 are the set of people I would like some kind of working on them. Now, whether it is performance improvement plans or the exits. So as long as my attrition is happening from those kind of percentile set of people, I have no issues. But what I will be more interested or I'll be more concerned is undesirable attrition, where I have a set of people whom I am looking at retaining and they are going. Now, this is also a part of life because this is the business environment. If people don't go, I also won't be able to attract from outside, isn't it? So the only thing is that I have to create a positive culture. I'll have to create all the retention mechanisms, which includes organization related mechanisms, boss and subordinate related mechanisms, and HR related, people related practices. Everything I have to create in a manner, I have to ensure that the guys are retained in the organization. So I'll be not very worried about attrition, and Adani today is not really worried about attrition. And I'm not talking about post-COVID days. It is COVID also, before COVID also. Adani is not very much worried about, because I'm actually at the top of heap in terms of every industry, whether it is thermal, ports, power, renewables, whichever the industry that you look at, I'm probably, turning out to be one of the preferred employees. Hence, I'm not worried much about attrition. But to answer your question, I have tried to tell you desirable attrition, non-desirable attrition. What do I do to, take care of non-desirable attrition? Right? HR department often faces the situation to choose between personal ethics and professional or morals. How do they deal with this? This is actually, you need to explain to me what it is. So I will come back to this question. Which all activities are carried out by HR team to employees so that their work efficiency increases? HR existing for this. The very existence of HR is to ensure the efficiency of employees increases in organizations. This is right from the beginning. As I was talking to you, how do I handhold a guy who is coming into the organization till there is an exit? Now, I can actually classically talk in terms of giving clarity to an employee by way of complete transparency in what is expected of him. That's where my performance management system comes in. So Adani today has got an online performance management system where we are actually, mandating employees and the reporting managers, reviewing managers, and people involved in the workflow are aware of what is expected of an employee in terms of performance, and what are the expectations in terms of outputs, quantity, quality, time, space, and cost. These are the things that we very clearly tell an employee right from day one. That's as far as performance is concerned. Then we are also trying to put in a lot of systems to ensure that to tell an employee what is his career, because there is a strong linkage between clarity on these things to an employee vis-a-vis the work efficiency. So if an employee knows what is expected of him on a day-to-day basis and what is going to happen to his career as he moves, if he spends 3 years, 6 years in the organization, then the work efficiency definitely improves. That is as far as work related is concerned. Then the culture related. We have very, very clearly articulated our culture to employees in terms of courage, trust, and commitment. These are very clearly articulated and told that how an employee should behave in the organization. What are the qualities which are expected in terms of in day-to-day life of an employee. So this culture part is told to employees so that they know what is expected of them in the softer areas. That also helps an employee to increase his efficiency. And part 3 is there is a huge effort in terms of development of employees in terms of training, whether it is soft skills or hard skills. We have multiple programs, flagship programs, whether you call them as Nalanda, where we send employees to outside universities. We call North Star, where it's an in-house program but delivered by best of the universities in the country, or best of the faculties coming from all across the country and delivering soft skills programs and hard skills programs. So these are all the things which will help employee to improve the efficiency.
Sir, I think your presentation would probably answer a couple of questions of them like they are putting out.
No, madam, I would actually, answer the questions and go back to the presentation, because it's actually lovely to, answer the questions rather than presentation, because see, presentation is all about a very straightforward thing. Now look at the question: is risk taking encouraged, and what if someone fails into it? Let me tell you, it's one of the beautiful questions and a very, very favorite question of mine as far as Adani is concerned. Jinil has asked this question. Trust me, Jinil, if there is any corporate in the country today which encourages risk, I can sure, with lot of confidence and experience tell you Adani is one of the companies which allows you to take risk. Now, why? You can ask me why. Because why am I so confidently saying? Adani is all about risk taking. If you look at 2007, I always give my example of, my own example. 2007, I have joined as a DGM in this company, and today I'm a vice president. 2007, when Gautam Bhai has started power business in this company, and today we are 14,000 megawatts of thermal power, and I don't know how many megawatts of renewable powers. Now, this is what the risk taking is all about. Before 2007, Adani did not had any history in terms of power business. So Adani is all about risk taking, getting into new businesses and taking into leadership. Now this actually percolates down to the way people behave in this organization. You are allowed to take risk. However, as we move, as we have become more and more professional, this organization, what we are only trying to do is to create a risk mapping culture in the organization. You take risk. However, there is certain amount of risk mitigation or risk management plans that you have to have along with the risk, so that your risk do not turn into blunders. That's what my answer would be to Jinil, right? But trust me, this is one organization which will allow you to take risks, especially with freshers. Because if you don't take risks, there is no creativity, there is no innovation, right? Risk, innovation, creativity, all these are, the way you look at. And if you actually following the same path, which is proven, you are not going to get a different kind of results. And before we bid for airports, Adani did not had any history in airport management, but suddenly Adani is big time into airport business. So that's risk taking. So fundamentally, the entrepreneur, the chairman of this company, Mr. Gautam Adani, is all about risk taking, and it is actually, percolated. It is encouraged, but only ensuring that risks are not turning into blunders, right? Oh, this is beautiful. During this pandemic, many employees from many companies are got laid off. Is it justified, or also affects company's image? What should be alternative to that? I started my interaction by saying employee-employer relationship is actually commercial, right? If what you can see in the corporate world or business environment is, if you are not able to take care of your business needs, how can you actually ensure that employees are staying there? That's a big question that each one of us have to ask. Am I laying off people just using this opportunity, or am I actually also struggling for business sustenance, because of which I'm laying off people? So the justification comes from that fact. Are you seeing many big corporates laying off? No, because corporates are going to come back. Corporates are going to rebound. Now, please do not criticize those people where layoffs are happening, because if there is no business sustenance, it's not going to be there. So you'll have to look at these things in this perspective. Now, coming back to my presentation, let me go back to my presentation. I'll further come back to these questions in a minute. Okay, this is what Madam was trying to tell in the context setting, that corporates, especially more professionally driven corporates, are creating it's kind of skimming the whole world. All the expectations which I've shown you in the previous slides, which were running into hundreds, and skimmed them, and finally we have polished what are the expectations which are from employees an organization looks at. Now, when I'm calling this as Adani Behavioral Competency Framework, this is only half of it. The other half is the technical competencies that you would bring on the board. So if you are a projects guy, it is expected that you have the project competencies. You know how a project is planned, a project is deployed, a project is implemented. That is not what I am talking about, because that's the technical part, which is you are going to learn in school, college, and in your professional courses. But these are soft competencies. This is what is expected from all the employees. And what I try to do is that when I look at competencies, these competencies are applicable right from CEO to a fresher who is joining us. Okay. I'm actually coming from a very abstract to a very, very solid empirical kind of concept. So those hundreds and hundreds of expectations skimmed, sieved, funneled, and finally I'm putting in front of you the expectations which Adani expects from employees, and these are expected from CEO to a fresher who is joining us. Now you can probably wonder how the same set of expectations are there from somebody who is a CEO or from vis-a-vis a fresher joining us. The answer to this is that every competency is defined in terms of proficiency levels. So what I'm showing you is the competencies or the behaviors. What is competency? Competency is all about, it's your ability to perform. There could be classic, definitions, but all that I'm trying to, put a very operational definition is what is expected in terms of behavior from you. If this is what it is, there are 3 dimensions to it. And there could be, Dobby list. There could be hundreds and hundreds of competencies, but you can actually focus on this 3 plus 3 and 2. And this is what we can say that, these are expectations which Adani expects from a fresher also. So we got something called a work level where we say managing self. Managing self is you're a fresher, you're managing yourself when you enter into an organization. And these are the set of expectations. Now let us understand what are these. What is most important when you enter into an organization, because I thought it is my duty to tell you, not broadly telling you should have team orientation, but what is team orientation is defined as. Okay. So when we talk about team orientation, what Adani expects, and when I'm saying what Adani expects, please don't think that it is only unique to Adani. You can actually, look at some English language here and there, but this is what every corporate also would expect you to perform or expect you to demonstrate. So all that you need to read is, I would have loved this session to be one-on-one, but since we are on online, all that you need to read very loudly and tell yourself is what is most important is those words which are in bold. Okay. So the first thing that, when we talk about team orientation, you are supposed to demonstrate a lot of awareness about team agendas and shared goals. Guys, organizations are all about teams. Individuals are incidental. Let me make it very clear. Individuals are incidental because organization is collection of people, performers who together gives outputs. So you have to be an effective team member. Then you may be an individual performer. So you are supposed to understand and share team agendas and shared goals. You have to very clearly show awareness, work effectively in a team and commitment to team goals. Yes, you are supposed to show commitment to yourself, but commitment to team goals are most important, right? And also the third and most important and team orientation is dealing with conflicts, right? It's a very important thing, because when there is more than one person in an organization, there are conflicting situations. So how do you handle these conflicts? While handling conflicts, all that you need to keep it in your mind is team goals, importance to team goals. What is most important is team goals. So handling and dealing with conflicts, keeping in your mind the team goals is most important. Conflicts are essential part of a teamwork, right? This is the first set of expectations that we are talking about. Now the second, employee development. When I'm saying employee development at a self level, it's a beautiful, beautifully explained here. You have to take initiative. When you join in an organization as a fresher, what people expect is you take initiative. You are somebody who has to consistently look at connecting with people, how to approach seniors, how to approach the organization. You have to show that energy. If you are not a self-starter, then actually nothing can work, because finally the career is in your hands. You are responsible for your career. Nobody is responsible for your career. You are responsible for your career. Only your boss, your organization, your HR department, or anybody who is in the ecosystem, they are there to facilitate. But after 10 years, if you look back, you have two choices to make. One, you are feeling sorry for your growth or your own career, how it has happened, or you are happy, but you are only responsible for it. Let me reiterate, bosses, organizations, HR department, they are incidental. If you don't go back and tell HR that I want to go for this training, if you don't go back to your boss and tell that, no, this is not what I am enjoying in terms of my work, I can do a better job here, nobody will come back and ask you, okay, by how you are doing. Yes, there are frameworks, there are systems, there are policies where, all these things are facilitated, but you have to take initiative. If you don't take initiative, nothing will happen, which tells that, the second line, which is you have to commit yourself for your own individual development. If you don't show that individual development commitment, actually nothing can happen. I've been handling training also. One of the most important things that I have learned is that I can actually, it's an old saying, I can drag the horse to the pond, but I don't, if the horse does not want to drink, actually it's my failure. So you will have to show your own commitment towards individual development. If you don't show, nobody will help. Now, then what you can ask, then what is Adani? Then you can ask, what is so great about Adani in terms of handling people? Now, what is good about good organizations like Adani's or Tata's or whichever the big organizations are? They will give you the ecosystem for developing you. They will tell you, they will give you clarity as to, boss, this is what you are performing today. This is where you are doing very well. This is where you are not doing well. This is how you should develop. You should go attend these courses. This is where you need some kind of input. So those are the ecosystems that organizations will create through HR department and your boss. But you have to be clear. You have to show your commitment towards your own individual development. You have to plan it. You have to very, very minutely on a day-to-day basis plan, keep going back. And my experience, I'm telling you, in my 25 years of experience, I have seen people who have shown initiative for their own development have grown multiple times compared to people who have performed, who have potential but not shown initiative for development. And third and most important, that we would expect you to demonstrate passion. If you don't show passion, I think that you are not there. The passion comes from the fact that you are aligned to the organization, you are aligned to the work that has been assigned to you, you are matching your expectations with your own performance standards. If you don't show passion, I think you will be left behind in the organization. So if you see these two slides, what are the most important thing that you can come out or you can keep in your mind, that you have to have? You have to show awareness to teams' shared goals, work effectively in team and show commitment to team goals, handle conflicts, but in a manner which is, team is important. You have to take initiative. You have to show your commitment for your development plan, and you have to show passion. These are the most important thing that, organization expect any corporate. See, words and sentences, don't worry about it. Tata may show you something different, or Reliance may show you something different, but finally these are operational definitions based on which stage those organizations are. Maybe Adani is 25 years or 30 years, Tatas are 70 years or 100 years, whatever. Every organization, based on their business stage or stage of their evolution, creates their own behaviors expected from employees, or the culture expected from employees, or they provide to the employees. But it's all about, here and there. Otherwise, these are the expectations that any corporate would have. Now, another set of expectations. You can read those, headings. Now let's come to strategic orientation. Now don't get overawed by this word called strategic orientation. What strategic orientation, when it actually, this gets deciphered, it's all about understanding of the purpose of their own role and its linkages with other roles. Now this, you go back to the team orientation part. You need to know what is purpose of your role. You need to get that clarification right from day one. If you don't, actually there is a problem. Unless you are clear about your own role, unless you seek clarity about your own role, I think going forward you will face situations which are not. Now at your level, strategic orientation is only this much. It's not a big strategy and talking about, understanding of regulatory environments, understanding of business environments. Though let's leave that for superiors at this point of time. At this point of time, you have to have your own awareness of purpose of your role and linkages with other roles, and what is expected out of you further in strategic orientation is you have to consistently support superiors, because you are one of the most important and key link in the whole machine of the organization. If you are not supporting your superiors, I think their delivery is impacted, right? And it's very simple. You play your own part in the organization's effort. That's what strategic orientation at your level, and that's what company expects from fresher when they join the organization from a strategic point of view. I will come back to it. I think you will be having multiple questions in your minds, because I'm probably you might be thinking that I'm simplifying everything in these sentences and words, but trust me guys, life, the most difficult and most complicated concepts in life are actually very, very simple. As somebody said in a very famous saying, God is in small details, and this is what is all about, small details. I am actually telling you the demonstrated behaviors expected out of you. I'm not talking to a concept. If you actually, somebody asks you what is strategic orientation at your level, there are three things that you can actually immediately tell to that person. I understand purpose of my role, I support my superiors, and I play my own part in the organization's strategy. This is what my role as far as strategy is concerned. And when I go to entrepreneurial mindset, now it starts from Gautam Bhai. Gautam Bhai is the chief strategy officer of this organization or corporate. Or if you go to any other organization, whether it is Reliance or any other organization, Mukesh Bhai is the chief strategy guy. But when it comes to you, what is the entrepreneurial mindset that we expect from you in this organization? You are there to support your superiors in realizing immediate opportunities. You know what, actually, if you actually look at what is entrepreneurial mindset? Entrepreneurial mindset, even at a highest level, is identifying opportunities, connecting dots, and creating a meaning out of ambiguity. This is what entrepreneurial mindset is all about. Now, and it has almost become a science. How does your boss become entrepreneurial mindset guy? Unless you at your level consistently scan the market, look at competition, or look at business intelligence, and tell your bosses this is where is the opportunity. That is what is expected out of you. You look at, you're working in, let's say, thermal, so you keep scanning the market. You are there to immediately identify a small opportunity and then tell your boss. You have to support. This is the behavior expected, guys. You have to look at, you have to have a situational awareness and identify opportunities. You also are expected to adapt to new priorities, maintaining a positive outlook, and bouncing back from failures. These are the four most important behaviors which we look at you. There's a failure, there's supposed to be a presentation. You have not done well. Fine, it's okay. But you are supposed to bounce back immediately, because life has not come to a standstill. Next day is a new day, and you have to take it with a lot of positivity. That's what entrepreneur is all about. Entrepreneur never looks at negative things. Khatam ho gaya. Yesterday is a story. I move ahead today with new enthusiasm. Now, this is exactly, this is the most important thing in anybody in the organization, stakeholder partner. When you join me in my organization as a fresher, I would expect you to be aware of formal structures. Formal structures means there is a hierarchy, there is a business structure, there is an organization structure. You should be very clearly understanding how business operates in a formal structure. There's something called delegation of authorities. There's something called approval matrices. You need to know how this organization work in a formal way, right? And as I was talking to you, you should be very clear in terms of understanding the value and importance of trust and respect for others. Adani is very strongly committed to respect and dignity of each one of us. Respect and dignity is very important in terms of while you are handling your subordinates, your superiors, your peers, anybody in the ecosystem. And understand whoever is your customer, whether it is internal customer or whether it is external customer. You should demonstrate clear understanding of customer expectations and also deliver the commitments that you have given. These are some of the basic expectations expected out of you. If you actually write down everything that is in the bold letters, I think you have understood what a corporate expects from a fresher when you are joining down the line 2 years, right? I'm moving to the next set. Now, I'm taking a pause. The third set starts with something called results oriented. Now in this, what is expected? The behaviors. If you are somebody, I'll tell you what, my experience of 25 years told that a guy who adheres to the timelines is somebody who can demand, command respect from others. Don't think that, I am a junior guy, chalta hai, I can actually, skip some timelines or skip some commitments. No, that's where you start building your credibility. People will start taking you seriously only if you adhere to the timelines which you give to all your stakeholders, right? And you should also understand what are the basic standards. It's a very important aspect. What is that minimum expected out of base standards in your area of work? And also, as I was trying to tell you before this, you are also supposed to very minutely observe and identify what are the obvious risks that your area has got, and immediately try to protect yourself from those areas by connecting to your boss, by connecting to your peers, by connecting to people who are experts in the system. And finally, accept responsibility for your own behavior. That's most important. If you commit a mistake, don't worry. If you commit a mistake, don't worry, because every day we keep coming mistakes. But the worst mistake that you can commit, after having committed a mistake, hide it. Because what happens is when you are hiding mistakes, they can end up being blunders, and blunders are not tolerated in organization. Mistakes are tolerated because we are doing, unless you see, mistakes happen only when you work, no? And I'm famously telling that's how people's performance is perceived in Adani. Mistakes are part of life, but hiding them is not part of life. You take your responsibility. Don't shift the accountability to somebody else that it's not your one. Do a mistake, immediately own it and take it forward. There are people to guide you. There are people to ensure that you don't commit those mistakes next time, right? The next set is about transformation mindset, right? Now this is where we expect every employee, mostly the freshers, to open to change and willingness to experiment with new ideas. Because see, famously, why freshers are recruited in organizations? The reason why freshers are being recruited is they are coming with mind which is like a clean slate. They are the ones who come with knowledge of what is happening around the world, what is latest, and what is happening. You know, you are more in touch with the world than people who are already working. And you also have to show that, you know, demonstrate that ability and willingness to experiment with new ideas. That's what is expected out of freshers. That's what is expected out of new guys when you join the organization. And also you are very strongly expected to support the change process, right? Because you are the one who makes things happen at the end of the day. You are at a deployment level. You take care of those actions which are finally taking it to the last mile. So this is what transformation mindset. And finally, this last one is about your understanding of technology platforms. I don't need to tell you how important understanding of technology is all about, and also what it's all about your mindset about technology. It's not about knowing computers. It's not about knowing uh, programming. It's not about knowing coding. It's all about what is happening around. What is your mindset in doing something where a lot of manual activities are there? How do you look at converting into an automated way of doing things? So this can only happen through your own understanding of technology, and what are the technology platforms are available, so that your work is done efficiently without errors and can be repeatable without any further efforts. So I just tried to put these things from an Adani context, so that, you know, I'm not talking very abstract to you. I'm not talking about anything which is not understandable. What is most important in what I have talked to you in last 15-20 minutes or half an hour is I have talked to you about behaviors. I have not talked to you expectations from competency point of view. I have actually tried to split it in terms of behaviors, because unless otherwise we are told what is expected as a behavior, we don't understand. It's not all about you. It's about each one of us. So if you tell, you know, moms are best, you know, mentors in anywhere in the world, because they tell the kid what is the behavior they are expecting to the last mile, in terms of time, in terms of quantity, in terms of quality. They tell the kids you have to be at home by 6 o'clock, or you have to finish this by this time, or you have to eat properly, or you have to ensure that, you know, cleanliness is maintained. So when expectations are converted into behaviors, they are easy to understand. And I thought Adani competency framework is the best way to convert expectations into behaviors. And these are the set of competencies and behaviors which Adani is now institutionalized. You can pick it up, you can see them. I can actually, give this to you guys. They are available in the institute also. You can actually keep it in front of you and keep reading those behaviors. Don't look at the competencies. Don't get overawed by what is transformation, what is outcome focus, but read into the expected behaviors so that you get answers. And when these behaviors are practiced on a day-to-day basis, they become habit. And when they become habit, actually they're part of your behavior. So typically, the most famous example that I understood myself and I keep giving is when you drive a car. Actually, when you start learning car driving, you keep looking at the gear lever and say, now I am into first gear, now I am into this speed, second gear, now I am into this speed, third gear. Now, once you practice it consistently, when it becomes habit, it becomes muscle memory. And once it is muscle memory, you don't need to look into the gear, speed or steering or road or gear lever to actually put your car into motion. It becomes a practice. So my strong request to each one of you is that look at these behaviors. Don't go with, big concepts of expectations. I have very carefully picked up a content where expectations are converted into behaviors. The behaviors subsequently should be practiced. They become habit. Once they become habit, they actually become muscle memory. So over a period of next 2 years, if you practice these things, adherence to timelines will become a muscle memory. Adherence to team goals is a muscle memory. You don't need to be told that now you need to, come to meeting, come to a specific project work on time. You will do it. It becomes a muscle memory, right? This is what I thought, I have in my hand to share. There is one more slide which is beyond Adani. I tried to put it together, but if there are any questions related to that, I will take it. Madam, has this sounded
Yes, sir.
something?
Yes, sir. So perfect. It's going perfectly.
Because see, when
Wonderful
I
point explained of that muscle memory, the way you explained it so simplified, like while driving a car. That was wonderful one, sir.
plus also, madam, not only madam, guys, is that, I actually, we get overawed with what is expected. There are thousands and thousands of expectations, but unless those expectations are understood as behaviors, you will not know what to do. You will not know what to do. And I tell you, the document which I have shared is a beautiful document of Adani, which is a resultant of tremendous amount of thinking and work put by various leaders, including CEOs and chief HR officers or external consultant, and every word there written has got a meaning. So I thought, instead of, bombarding you with big time concepts, I tried to make life very, very understandable and simple.
Very true. Very
And
true, sir.
and somebody asked a very, very important, interesting question: is having a rebellious behavior in a positive way entertained in a corporate? If you are a rebel with a reason, I guess it is entertained. But most of the word itself, rebel, actually tells it is without a reason, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So I would like you to, look at that word called rebel in a different way. I would want you to, whoever has asked that question, it is not about being rebel. What is rebel? Rebel is actually questioning the status quo. Questioning the status quo is encouraged in Adani. Questioning the status quo is encouraged in organizations, because when you question the status quo, you are actually also asking why it is being done like this, right? That is the questioning status quo. But I'll tell you what, the best way to question a status quo is also having an alternate solution in your hand. If you are able to question a status quo and give a solution how to do it differently, then buddy, you will be respected, you will be valued. But rebel without a cause, boss, it will not be accepted at all, right? Now there is a classic question, according to you, what is more important, satisfaction or pay? I'll tell you what, salary is extremely important, right? Because that's what life is all about. The kind of money that you make actually tells you the kind of life that you're wanting to live or going to live. But money without job satisfaction, it can only last for 6 months. It can only last for 8 months, or at best 1 year. Beyond that, money without job satisfaction will not last. but I'll link it in a different way. I will link it in a different way. How? It is, I will be hired tomorrow for what I am doing today, right? That's how life is all about. So what I am doing today is based on which the next job or within the organization or next job is going to give way for me. And if I am not doing my today's job with satisfaction, I'm not going to perform well, which means that my next movement, which is probably higher pay, is dependent on how well I am doing today. So doing a job with satisfaction is most important. But if you think that you are doing something with a lot of satisfaction and you are continuously doing it, see, performance, the most important, guys, please understand one thing. Performance, the most important factor around performance is sustainable performance. It is not about peaks performance. So if you think that you have performed well with a lot of satisfaction on a sustainable period, now this sustainable period is, it's an operational definition. You can choose your own sustainable period. You can say, sir, 6 months is sustainable. Beyond that is not, I'm okay. But from organization point of view, 1 or 2 years. If you have done that, if you think that pay is not commensurate to what you are doing, I think life is all about options. You can choose them. You can choose them. I'm not somebody who will advise you to stick around with low pay in spite of contributing well.
Sir, but sustainable performance in any case will lead to higher satisfaction.
Obviously, see, sustainable performance means you are enjoying what you are doing.
That's what, because if you don't enjoy your work, you won't be happy. You won't, like, it's a LinkedIn jargon that we say.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I said,
connected.
do not look at performance in isolation. It has to be sustainable. You have done one project well. That does not mean that you are a good performer. There has to be a sustainability. Why? I'll tell you. The reason is that performance happens in an ecosystem. So in one performance, there might be some facilitating factors. There might be some situations which has helped you to perform better. And I am again linking into the team, guys. Your performance is dependent on the team that you belong to. So you have performed well, but the moment you are put into the next situation, if you have not performed well, mind well. So there is some situation which you need to correct. So performance does not happen in isolation. It has to happen in sustainable way, right?
Right, sir.
Expectations, behavior, habits, muscle memory. Anchal Tiwari. Was that a question or was that a sequence? I think you have built a sequence. I liked it. Thank you.
Sir, I have one question to ask.
Madam, please.
Sir, like in this, like it just related to a very short term, like kind of a pandemic situation which we are facing now. How are generally companies doing it with their induction program? Because that has always become it has become given a prime importance in today's time. When a new fresher comes, the child, a boy or a girl needs to go through a proper induction program. Companies' values, rules, morals, companies' business, status quo, what you call it as.
Yeah.
So now in this scenario, this has become a very big challenging task for many employers. I've seen.
Yeah, madam. I will only
Okay.
try to link it what we are doing with what others are trying to do, because
Okay. Yes.
because that's the best way to explain. The most important thing in onboarding and acculturation of new employees is usage of technology. That's big time. And Adani almost 23rd March. Fortunately for us, we have implemented something called Microsoft Teams on 22nd of March.
Right,
and from then onwards till today, I think lakhs of video conferences and tons of data which is exchanged, but that is internal. Now external, we have created a very, very systematic virtual onboarding process that we have created. Trust me, we have actually also got, we had actually given some summer internship to our IIM guys ISP guys sometime in the month of February. And these guys have completed their onboarding and also completed their projects on a virtual platform. So there are two things very important on doing this virtual engagement while you onboard or while you facilitate. That is, one part is technology. Now, fortunately, what I am telling you is that we had some good technology platform which we are using, but leave that aside. I think technology is now available to everybody with Zooms and WebEx, and every kind of technology platform is available. Even a small corporate can spend very little amount and use this technology. But what is most important apart from technology is your processes to engage. So you have to create a kind of rhythm. You have to create a kind of schedule with whom you are engaging. So our plans while we onboard new employees is that, of course, we take them through a virtual induction of 1 day. We take them through kind of, our culture, etc., etc. वो सब तो कर देंगे. But what is most important is we are leaving the employee with the boss, and we are also telling him to create a rhythm to engage with new employees. So the guy has to at least connect 2 to 3 times with a new employee in a day so that the employee is not left to fend for himself. So it's up to reporting manager, who is most important factor in promoting the culture in the organization. We tell him to engage with the employee on a regular basis, include him in all kinds of interactions which are happening within his department. Subsequently, HR departments are also engaging with these new employees on a periodic basis. Whether it is some might be doing it on once in 2 or 3 days, some may be doing it once in a week, but not beyond once in a week. What is most important is create a rhythm of engaging with a new employee after having virtually onboarded him with a purpose. It is not just like, hi, hello. The most important thing is giving them tasks, guiding them online, monitoring their performance, and taking the productivity back and bringing them into the loop. So the engagement is extremely important. So while I onboard them virtual, I engage them virtual. So the only thing that I need to make them realize is that it is only technology which is separating us. Otherwise, we are both together.
Connected.
As long as you are ensuring, and two things are important in this: the boss and HR teams. Boss is most important. So we are trying to do that, and I think most of the organizations, I keep reading a lot of articles and I keep reading a lot of papers where everybody is using their own methods to engage with the newcomers. But what is important is engagement. While you do virtual, you have to take them through the regular induction virtual, but beyond that, most important is boss engaging with them and ensuring that the person is in loop. And the second and most important thing is HR engaging with them. Now, while HR engages, what is important is that you are actually, giving that cushion to an employee that the physical distance is not limiting the performance.
Very
you are a part of the organization. You're part of the organization. So these two, three things I think many organizations are doing. Of course, I think we are also doing, many companies are also doing, all the employee engagement activities like fun at work, talent shows, stuff like that, so that, the employee keeps feeling that he's part of the organization. But nothing can replace the engagement by reporting managers. And once in a while, I'm not using the maker checker, but I am saying as the custodian of a culture, HR connecting with them.
Connecting, very true.
Somebody is asking actually, sir, if any superior made a mistake, then how should we approach the superior in rectifying mistake? Now, it is not only superior, it is superior, subordinate, and peer. The method of identifying, showing, and rectifying a mistake is same boss. Just because he is a superior, if you want to, be docile, and if it is a subordinate, you call him and actually throw books on his face and show that you have done a mistake. He may take it because he is a subordinate, but he will give it back to you at the right amount, right point of time.
Very true.
So the best way to actually show mistake, or if you think that it's a mistake, is go with a database. Go with interact with proof. Don't make an emotional pitch, because emotions are not understood in transactions when something is right or wrong. You think it's a mistake, you got a proof, you have got an empirical evidence, or audit guys typically call it as material evidence. You think that there is a material evidence, pick it up. Now material evidence need not be documents, Phalana and Dimkana. All that you need is some data. Just show that, boss, this is the data. I think there is a mistake around it. I'll tell you what, it is most important while telling this way to your subordinates rather than superiors. Because all that is superior, if you do it wrongly, superior can kick you out of his room, but fine, that's fine. But if you do this consistently with your subordinates, they'll stop collaborating with you. And that's more dangerous. So superior, inferior, peer, method is same.
Sir, there's a question from Mr. Keshav Bhatia that, like many people in their professional journey end up feeling that perhaps they opted for a wrong role or a career. So what in that case would you suggest the graduating students or young students over here?
So what you are saying is that by mistake now I have joined this profession. What do I do now?
No, I'll not say profession, but then it's a job. We land up working in a particular industry kind of a thing. Like, students many a time have a flair of joining banking. So they may not be fit for the banking part or from FMCG sector or any other sector, be it any other sector, I'll say.
Okay. My suggestion to these kind of situations is give yourself a decent amount of time, because why you have joined that place is you must have done some analysis and joined, right? Okay. Right. So prove yourself wrong in the first place. Prove yourself wrong in the first place, which means give yourself time to feel that what you have done is not right. So maybe 3 months or 6 months. But my suggestion is, if your hurt is not in it, don't prolong it by more than 6 months. More than 6 months. But in that 6 months, give your best shot. Give your best shot and prove all the assumptions are wrong. Don't be spontaneous or emotional about those kind of things. Give yourself a best shot, and then 6 months, as I said, everything which is not sustainable is only spikes and lows. Give yourself 6 months and feel that either you are belonging here or not somewhere else. Because I'll tell you why. If you don't give yourself time, the next moment also might end up resulting in like this only. Okay. You should very clearly know. You should very clearly know what you are not liking to know what you are going to like. Right?
Yeah, that's very important to understand.
Yeah, that's extremely important. So give that time of 6 months or 1 year, whatever the time, it depends on your own personal way of looking at life. But it should not be week or 10 days or 1 month or 2 months. It should be 1 quarter or 2 quarters or 3 quarters. While you do it, give yourself a best shot. Then write down why you are not liking it and move to the next level. Now, but guys, one thing is very important. What you are not liking is based on your experience. What you are going to like is based on your optimism. Okay, be clear on that.
Right.
Be clear on that. So one is coming out of you're going through the motions and experiencing it on a day-to-day basis, and finally you are realizing that it is not working. But what you are looking at is only based on it might work for me. Might. So yes, your assumptions have to be extremely clear. Otherwise, you will again get into the same trap.
Same trap. Very true, sir.
Yep. ये लिखता है, sir, the image we have in our brains of a typical corporate organization is a kind of bossy top department and tireless bottom department. How an employee there can have a smooth transition समझा नहीं है मैं ये question. So I think Robin, you may want to either come on audio and tell me what it is this. Uh, mm, Sir, position is important. I mean, in one company you are GM and in some offer you other company as CEO. Now, this is a very interesting question, though it may not be applicable to you, but for understanding the context, you need to understand very clearly that designations are very, very organization specific, right? In a small company, I may be CEO, but if you come to Adani, you will not be more than a senior manager. It depends on designations are size and scale and complexity of an organization. So while you evaluate these options of designations, you need to look at the standard of the organizations that you are referring to. So a 100 crore company GM is only probably, you know, a manager in a 1,000 crore company, because the designations are based on the complexity around the role. So you should not worry about designation. What you should be looking at is the role. What is the role? Role is more important than designations. When the roles and designations are rightly married, that's where the organizations become professional. So if it is the same level of organizations, and if you are a GM and they are offering manager, don't go. Don't go, very clear. But if the organizations are not matching, and you are vice president, and also you are offering a 5,000 crore company a senior manager, please look at the role and go. That is part one: size, scale, complexity. The second most important thing is there are certain organizations, the businesses, industries, which have got very, you know, volatile kind of designations. Financial services, 10 years into the career, they call themselves as vice presidents and senior vice presidents and directors. So you have to be very careful with those kind of, you know, look at you know, large organizations like Google or Facebook's. A VP in a Google is actually responsible for a product line across the world or for a geography, right? So designations are hazy. Go by role. Role is important. Right? Now, if we don't have any question, I will actually move to my last slide. Now, I have told you Adani's context, but I am also giving you outside
Sir,
perspective.
sorry to interrupt. Sir, Vineet is asking something.
Yeah, please.
Vineet had raised a question.
I am here. Is he typing, Vineet, or are you want to come on audio and ask?
Sir, I'll ask directly.
Please.
Yeah, Vineet, please.
What is the working style between young force, a new organization, and an experienced force, as in old organization? Means the business who is already in the market since 30 plus years, and the new organization which is just stepping up.
Let me answer you a little differently. It's not about young organization or old organization. It's about the stage of the organization. Adani is 30-year-old organization, but we are consistently growing. We are a growth-driven organization. If you look at some other organization who have just spent 5 years or 4 years, but they have already reached to a levels of, you know, stabilization in terms of market or products or whatever. So don't link the number of years to an organization, though it can loosely fit in. But what I would take your question into it is, what is the mindset of an organization? Am I a mindset which is a growth oriented mindset organization, or I am somebody who is, you know, see, if an organization is thinking that within 4 years it has stabilized, which means it's a very small organization. Let's understand very clearly. So now, to answer to your question of young and not so young kind of organization, let me not put young and old. Old looks very odd. So young and not so young organization is that growth oriented young organization is extremely nimble. They move fast. They move fast in terms of, because see, you are young. Now, the very fact that you are young in a business environment which means that you want to seize the opportunities very fast. You want to cover the distance which others have covered in the market much faster than others. So you are nimble as an organization, which means you are thinking, your go to market, you're reaching to the customer. All these things are very fast, which means the processes are designed fast, which means the people who design these processes are somebody who are thinking very fast, right? So that's what young organizations are all about. But when you actually steadily transition into a larger organization, now there is one more thing which I would like to tell you, Vijay, Vineet, is that young organizations are largely dependent on people, largely dependent on individuals. When I'm saying people, don't mistake it. It is individuals driving things, and there are exceptions. There are a lot of things which are, every time you do certain thing, it can be done differently in young organizations, because that's what is all about: innovation, creativity, doing things differently. But when you are growing, when you are stabilizing, when you are consolidating, you need to create processes around what you are doing, because as you are consolidating, you don't want things to be giving different results different times. And now comes the importance of systems, processes, structures, right? Now these are the things which will actually ensure that you are doing things every time right. So here the individual players definitely are given importance, but processes are the ones which are more important. So that's how, people who are not belonging to these systems think that, young organizations are good, consolidated organizations are not good. It's nothing like good or not good. It's all about, the stage of the organization is all about. That's why, the startups, you start in a garage, you sit in some cafe, you start thinking, you move fast, but the moment they move to the next level, they are process driven.
Thank you, sir.
What is the necessary for success of an organization? Following hierarchy or treating employee in equal? See, everybody is equal. You will have to own your own credibility, boss. Lakshmi, you need to both in balance, right? As I was trying to tell, when young organization, they actually follow hierarchy less kind of working, because there the teamwork is extremely important. Individuals are making a lot of difference. But when you are moving into a consolidated kind of organization where systems, processes, they happen, the hierarchies come. But let me tell you, even within a hierarchy organization, I have seen personally, my 25 years, even if you are the lowest guy, you have a credibility. How do you build credibility? You follow certain behavioral patterns, you deliver, you are the lowest guy, still you will be respected. There is no hierarchy for you. There is no hierarchy for you. The organization will respect that cutting across the hierarchy kind of behaviors. So finally, it comes back to you. It's not about culture. You set the culture. Can I move to my slide? Yeah, this is one slide I thought, of course, we talked a lot about competencies, expectations, and behaviors, which I've tried to put into a Adani funnel. But there are certain things which probably I thought are not covered out in that. Dependability. If you are working with your boss has to feel that you are dependable. There is no other way in life. If you are dependable, everything comes to you. If you are not dependable, nothing will come to you. It's straightforward expectation from the organization. Now, dependability comes from where? Now, I am taking this slide at the last because these are concepts. These are not behaviors. But I will try to explain each of these into connecting into my Adani competency framework and link. Dependability comes from the fact that you're a part of a team player, you are meeting timelines, You are actually putting group before, putting team before others. You are, resolving the conflicts. You are aligned to the organization. You are actually doing something which is expected out of you. That is what dependability is all about. आपको काम दिया, आपने बोला आज शाम को मैं वापस दे दूंगा या कल सवेरे दे दूंगा, आप दे दीजिए. If you do it 5 times, work will start flowing to you. Credibility will start flowing to you. You have to be dependable. काम दे दिया आपको तो your boss should close his eyes and say, this guy has told me tomorrow things will happen. They will happen. But if you fail 3 times out of 5 times, I think you are in great danger of good work not coming to you. I look at dependability as the most important thing for a fresher. Quick learner, as I said, be aware of what is happening around, and you should quickly keep learning stuff. Self-discipline, self-starter, I have told you, initiative part. Honesty, I have explained to you, be transparent, done a mistake, don't cover it. Honesty will be appreciated. Loyalty, I have explained to you. Now, I will come back to situational awareness and communication subsequently. Multitasking. You should have this ability to move from one to one. काम दे दिया है, मैं इसको 3 दिन करूंगा, उसके बाद ही दूसरा कोई काम देखूंगा. No, you should have that ability to quickly shift, split your day into multiple small pockets and say, for this 1 hour I'll do this, for next I'll do something else. Now it does not mean, please don't take me wrong for not having the focus. In that 1 hour you'll have complete focus. In the 2 hours you will have complete focus. It does not mean that 3 दिन के लिए focus के साथ मैं एक ही चीज काम करूंगा. That is not multitasking. We expect, organizations expect you to have the multitasking and also the flexibility. And please guys, please keep this in your mind. You should have the research skills. Every time you go back to your manager, every time you go back to your peer, if you are going back with some data saying that salaries are low, now that is one statement. Now 2 people are making this statement. One is making a statement that by salaries are generally low in this company. Now I ask him कि भाई tell me how. बोलता है सर मेरे को पता है. तेरे को कैसा पता है? मैंने I have talked to 10 people, मेरे को पता है. But where is the evidence? The other guy, sir, salaries are low, but I have talked to 10 people, 50 people, whatever it is. 50 people talk about this. Some are saying this. So research is extremely important. Whenever you are actually taking an idea, support with data and which comes with research, otherwise it will not be appreciated. And of course, computer proficiency is extremely important. Now I am coming back to something called situational awareness. अपना सर घूमता नहीं है, but you should keep moving your head 360 degree every day. You should have that 360 degree view of situational awareness, what is happening around you. Is the positivity coming or negativity coming, or the opportunities are there? Where is for me an opportunity to be visible? You should be extremely situationally aware of what is happening around. Otherwise you will get redundant. You are a pass. Very clear. And the last and most important thing, guys, I am telling you, you have got 2 years. There is a meta competency called communication. There are competencies, there are competencies, there are competencies, there are a meta competency called communication. If you do not focus on communication, you are dead for your life. You may know 100 things. If you are not able to tell one thing, you are out. Now, communication is a meta competency, and if you actually read more about communication, it encompasses whatever I have told you. It majorly encompasses everything that I have told you. And it's not just about talking. It's not just about listening. It's not about writing. It's not about presenting. Let me tell you, communication is right from ideating. Right from ideating. You can only communicate if you ideate rightly. And you can ideate rightly only if you know what needs to be ideated. So it's a broad spectrum. So please be very, very clear about this competency and focus big time. Use every opportunity to communicate. What we tend to feel that standing and talking is communication. Of course, that's one part. Use every opportunity. I've got 2 years. Use every opportunity to stand and talk. Now, communication has got 2 or 3 aspects. Let me just, finally tell this as final words. One-to-one communication, one-to-other communication, one-to-many communication. Okay. So please use all opportunities to, make yourself a very strong person in all these 3 things. Stand up and talk. Stage fear, tel lagane gaya, nikal jayega. Right? Use these opportunities. It's very important. And trust me, I'm actually, extrapolating further. What are those things which will help you to master master? Yeah, get into debates, create debates, get into presentations. Let me tell you, there is a very strong thing called theater. Get into theaters. Create your own opportunities for getting into theaters. Act. There is a famous word called, what is presentation? Presentation is all about acting, right? So act what you are, act what you are not. Convince some other person by acting what you are not, and also acting what you are. Probably this will bring in a lot of proficiency for you in communication. So I guess as far as my presentation PPT is concerned, I'm done. I have one last slide which I'll flash, but before that, anything is there? Otherwise, I am done for the day. It's 12:32. Thank you.
Sir, one last question from my side.
Please, madam.
Sir, it is being generally observed that would it be the CV that stands out well, or the performance in interview, or the qualification of a candidate that holds the recruiter?
Okay. I'll tell you what. They're linked. They're straightforward linked. I've been working with the institute, and let me also give my example of working with the institute in last 4 or 5 years. Maybe 3 years back, 4 years back, I did a session called resume writing, right?
Okay.
Resume writing is something which I did. Now, what is resume? Resume or a CV? If I pick up 2 resumes and see, one resume has got everything, 10 things in it, but when I actually meet him, there is nothing what he has written, the person does not have.
Okay.
Now there is another resume, there is nothing in the resume, but when I meet him, I've realized he has got 10-15 things. Now I'm making a very fundamental statement. Do not write a single word in resume which you cannot support.
Absolutely.
Do not write a single word in a resume. If asked, probed, you cannot support, don't write it. Now that is the fundamental thumb rule. Now how to build a resume? Guys, listen to me. I'm answering madam, but please listen to me. You have got 2 years to build your resume. 2 years to build your resume. And trust me, I've gone to an IIM last year. The guys, they write everything. They write everything. And in fact, if you see resume's got everything. So the guy writes that, marathon is my hobby, running marathons. And I looked at him, he was almost 80 kilos. So the first thing which comes to my mind is, no, he is not doing marathon. So I asked him, what marathon? He says that, sir, वो 5 kilometers. अरे यार 5 किलोमीटर तो आजकल वो families भी चल जाते हैं marathons में. तो 5. So running marathon and writing that, and look at him and he says 5 kilometers. Now see, there has to be a congruence between what you have written and what you are. So the first thing is that don't write what you cannot support. But in the 2 years, please build things which you can write in the resume. Right? I strongly suggest, please create your resume in a manner or behave or do something in these 2 years where you can talk about your hobbies, where you can talk about your interests, where you can talk about what you do, what you give back to society. But do, then write. Don't just write, and if asked, there will be, all the jokers like me sitting in front of you taking interviews. So they'll find out third word that you have not written properly. Now, on the other side, please do not hesitate. Do not shy away from writing things which you have done. There is a little art in writing your resume. Take help. Resume builders are available. So resume builders only, madam, will help people who have done but cannot write. But resume builders won't help people who have not done but want to write.
Very true, sir. Absolutely true.
It takes 2 minutes to decipher the resume, honestly. So you have got 2 years. You have got 2 years to build your resume, guys, which means do things which you can write in a resume. Don't, at the end of, 1.5 saal ho gaya, now corporates are coming. That day I want to sit and write, and you will end up writing something marathon, and you are doing 5 kilometer marathon in 5 hours. That is also marathon.
Obviously, that is marathon, sir.
Anything, guys? You have anybody? Raise your hand, ask question. Believe me, 2 years of happy time, 2 years of very, 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 very important time for you. You are in an ecosystem. You are in an ambience where you can make your lives. You will not get.
Sir, I would add on, they are in the knowledge world. So they have to grab each and everything that they can do it.
Yes.
So like they are in the.
Now that actually, takes me to the last slide. This is one slide, madam, I am extremely passionate about. Be a good human being.
Very true. Absolutely, sir.
Be a good human being, because guys, whoever are there, wherever you are sitting, it is not because of you are sitting there. It is because of your parents. It is because of your teachers. It is because of your neighborhood. It is because of wherever you are sitting there. You are bloody lucky. Okay, you are bloody lucky. And tell 5 minutes prayer to God every day. Show gratitude, that thank God that whatever that I have got, I am very fortunate. Now I want to take it forward. I'll give a very small example. You will not know the importance of a little finger unless you lose it. So everything you have got is extremely important. Ask me what is the importance of, black hair, and ask the importance of hair to somebody who doesn't have hair. So whatever you have, guys, please, there's a lot of gratitude you have to show, right? And the only way to show gratitude is helping others. Be a good human being. Help others. And the most trickiest thing in helping others, and I'm actually converting this into a very, very professional and matlabi wala dunya of helping others. You help others when they don't need help. When they need help and when they ask the help, then it is give and take. No, help others by anticipating. Now, isko agar aap English में जाके देखोगे ना, फंडा में, it is called networking principle. That is networking principle. So networking principle is network with somebody when there is no need, so that you can leverage that when you are in a need. So help others when they don't need, so that you will be helped. Otherwise, nobody will help you. Okay. If you think that you are strong in some subject, help somebody who is not very strong in that. Pull everybody around, pull the whole batch around. Each one of you can pull the whole batch of 40 or 50 into levels where your faculty cannot do it, because faculty is doing one to others. Here you are doing everybody to others. It's a great ecosystem where you can pull each other so that you can take the help of faculty also. So it's going to be a beautiful batch if you try doing these things. Right? God bless you. Thank you. I am done with it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It was a wonderful session being with you. And at the very right point of time, it is being held, because like now they have 2 years of time to build in their everything in this knowledge academy, in this knowledge world.
And you know, I keep telling this to Saurin, I keep telling this to Keshav, extend your hand. There are 10 people to help.
Very true, sir. And we are here for them. Undoubtedly, we are here for them.
And there are 10 people to help. Don't get stuck in your shells. Don't get stuck into, don't be rigid in life here. Life is beautiful. Go and enjoy, and the day you guys are in the campus, I'm going to come there. If Saurin Gandhi allows me.
Surely, sir, would love to meet you.
Definitely, sir.
The day you guys are there, I would love to be there. I would love to talk more. I would love to engage. I would love to connect. Because see, boss, बहुत simple है. हर एज का एक need होता है. Probably the need of my age is to give back. Tell, share, so that others are learning. So take maximum usage of people like me around and prosper. God bless you. Lovely batch. Take care and stay safe.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, students. Thank you, Saurin, sir.
Thanks, students. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.